Happy Tuesday to you. It's Tuesday, April 14th, 2026. It's 8:54 a.m. Central Time as I'm recording this here, local time. NIO stock at $6.57.5 at the moment. We'll come back and talk about the short-term stock price action here in just a minute. But I want to share a few things because we've got the ES8, and the thing that I wanted to point out is the dominance for the price point where NIO is selling the ES8 in that above 400,000 RMB price range. For pure BEVs, this is the dominant vehicle. And the key for NIO was always, in my mind, was unlocking and establishing itself as the dominant pure BEV play in China. And so the ES8 is off to a wonderful start in solidifying NIO as that dominant player. They also have the ES9 coming, which, by the way, if you didn't catch this, NIO is targeting full year profitability here in this year of 2026. And with deliveries of the ES9 and a much lower price point than at least what I think a lot were expecting, I'm very curious just how dominant this vehicle and the delivery numbers can be for it as well. But I think those deliveries will start in June. But here's kind of a snapshot of where we are. And I'm always trying to mix things in. You've got the short-term stuff, but also the big picture overview. For me, this is a piece of the important overall, within the Chinese market. Let's say this is the BEVs and NIO, and I do want to offer this with the first quarter. These are the first quarter numbers, but this is only the NIO brand. If you figure all the NIO Group sales, including Onvo and Firefly, they're over 83,000. So they would have been top 5. And by the way, the company right above them with over 91,000 is one that's supposedly in talks to use NIO's chips in the future. So I don't mind seeing them doing pretty well with their deliveries either. This, by the way, I'll be curious to see a couple of things. First of all, there is an important element to the sub-brands for NIO, and I've talked about it in a video I call the rural model. So I'll link that in case you haven't seen it, because I think there is a way that NIO needs to get the word out that the NIO DNA is in Firefly and Onvo, and I think it will help sales for both of those brands as the word gets out. But I still think we're at this kind of early stage with market and brand awareness with both of those brands still being new. I'll be curious to see and track numbers, with the refresh of the L90 here in this year of 2026. So I wanted to point that out. This, by the way, is another company that may be interested in buying NIO's chips in the future. Now, I don't know how many or what models. You've got the NEV sales here shown for just the first quarter. And I'm not sure how many are pure BEVs. I don't know how many chips they'll be looking or what models they'll be looking to put them in. But this is just something that's kind of on my radar in the back of my mind. I wanted to offer it and make other people aware of it if they're not already. And this is, again, if we shift back to kind of the real big picture overview, this is all passenger vehicle brands and sales in China in the first quarter. And the thing that, I want to keep bringing up is that in the future, all of these will be either orange or green. So the blue will be completely removed from the numbers, and that represents the ICE or gas sales. And for NIO, in particular with the NIO brand, the slowest part of the market to move over to pure BEVs has been the high-priced range, basically the 400,000 RMB and above price range. And so you've got BMW still in the first quarter with over 120,000 sales, and the vast majority of them, obviously were gas or ICE sales. You've also got Audi with almost 120,000, over 117,000, most of which look to have been ICE or gas sales. And although Mercedes, BMW didn't make the top 20, their sales are down. Most of their sales in China are also, they continue to be the ICE or gas sales. So with that in mind, and with NIO still having the opportunity, especially with the ES8 and the ES9, to take more of that market share, there is a lot of market share to be taken still in that highest, price range. So this is still feel like we're a long way, probably not even 30% market penetration. Maybe that will be achieved and surpassed this year. And I think if it is, that's going to be a nod to NIO with the ES8 and ES9 taking a lot of that share, or representing a lot of the share that it's going to take. So it's still a long way to go, even in the Chinese market. But I do want to offer this. For anyone who sees my posts on this platform, please share, especially with the folks when I share their content. I always try to link them, and as a thank you, share that I'm sharing their content. And so I don't know if they're even seeing that I'm trying to thank them and share their content. So please, if you wouldn't mind, retweet and share it with them. Make them aware that I'm trying to give them a thank you and a shout out, because the algo is not helping me at all with respect to that. And that's fine. But I would like people to know I appreciate what they're sharing. And now let's talk stock price, because we've got, and I've got at the bottom of the screen, the short-term stock price, the three simple indicators that I like to use. You've got the trade volume, and let's just look at today. It's 9 a.m. right now as I'm recording. So we've got a half hour, and this is the volume, just over 6 million that's been traded here during the day since the market opened. Now, I've also got the year-to-date numbers shown, and the trade volume remains very low for NIO. Only 1-2 days where during the day NIO traded over 100 million shares. And so this normally would be where bears or shorts could keep the stock price down. But because it has continued to move up, I remain bullish, even in the short term, with respect to the stock price action, because the other thing, and I won't pull it up today, but the FTD data remains active. The FTDs are still present, and we should get new data tomorrow. So I'll come back and do a video after we get the data. But with elevated FTDs, with low trade volume, usually, this is basically represented the 4-year downtrend that NIO has been in. And yet in this year of 2026, even with the low volume, even with sentiment, I still think being subdued is what I'd like to say. I think NIO has a long way to go. And especially if they surprise with, let's say, first quarter profitability, which they may report in June, I'll be really fascinated and curious to see what happens moving forward. I think the shorts are absolutely running out of time, and the time frame where they'll eventually have to get out or get out of the way, I think probably ends in March of 2027. That's my guess, based on if NIO can come in with full year profitability, and that gets reported in March of 2027. And maybe things happen and NIO takes off to the upside earlier than that. If it does, if we start seeing big moves from NIO, I almost expect it to be on big volume, like 100 million share trade volume during the day for a number of days. And at least that is what we've seen in the past. So I will continue to keep that in mind and on my radar, and I will keep sharing the content. There's a lot more I want to do. In fact, I'm hoping to do a deep dive on the chip side of things, because that is a huge development for NIO that was announced in the most recent earnings. And so I'm excited. I'm still gathering data on that, but eventually I'll come out with a video on that. So let me get this video up and out as NIO trading at $6.55, 56 cents, something like that. Have a great day or night. Whenever you see this, I'll see y'all again very soon.